People stopped believing me after what happened. Friends. Family. Even those who once said they'd never leave my side. They think I cracked. That grief bent my mind until it broke. Maybe they're right. Maybe not. But I still remember the funeral. We kept it small. Maya hated fuss, and her family and I barely scraped together enough for even that. We called it a celebration of life, but the word celebration rang hollow every time someone said it. It ended in her grandmother's backyard, with her mother sobbing loud enough to shake the upstairs windows. Her brother, Eli, came up to me as I was leaving. "Are you okay?" he asked, voice full of hesitation, like he already knew the answer. I said yes. I didn't mean it. That night I drove aimlessly through streets that all used to mean something. Places we had memories, now all of them felt infected. I turned left where I used to turn right. I ran stop signs. I couldn't escape her, no matter how far I went. Eventually, I gave up and went home. That's when I saw it. A box on my porch. No label. No return address. It should have meant nothing. But it felt like the kind of thing that waits. And for reasons I still can't explain, I took it inside. I didn't open the box right away. I dropped it in the living room like dead weight and went to the kitchen, grabbed a beer, and found a box cutter. It was just cardboard. Just tape. Just packaging. Nothing to fear, right? The moment the flaps peeled open, white foam spilled out like snow. And underneath it, legs. Separate from the torso. Which was separate from the head. A body, in pieces. At first I told myself it was just a display mannequin. Maybe a delivery screw-up from the boutique 2 doors down. But then I saw the detail. The skin texture. The slight blemish on her hip. And the face. I can't describe the kind of cold that takes over your body when you look into the eyes of something that isn't alive but looks exactly like someone who was. Brown eyes, flecked with gold. Soft jawline. Her chin had that little notch she always hated in pictures. Her lips curved in the same near smile she used to make when she caught me staring. It was Maya. Every detail. Even the hair. Tangled. Dark. I reached out, don't ask me why, and touched her cheek. It was warm. Not room temperature. Warm. I fell backward so hard the couch scraped the floor. Beer exploded across the cushions. All I could do was sit there, staring. This wasn't just some cruel prank. This was her. But also, not. The next morning, I woke up like I hadn't slept at all. My head ached, my hands trembled, and all I could feel was heat rising in my chest, pure, sick anger. I tore the box apart, digging through the peanuts like a man possessed, refusing to look at her, or it, any more than I had to. I wasn't looking for an answer. I was looking for someone to blame. Eventually, a slip of paper fluttered out from the folds of cardboard. No company logo. Just a line of text in the center. Customer support. 877-540-1260. No name. No business. Just that. I called immediately. On the third ring, a woman answered. "Hello. Thank you for contacting customer support. How may I help you today?" Her tone was impossibly cheerful. Scripted. I got a package. I didn't order it. That was all I managed. I see. May I have the serial number, please? What? There should be a serial number printed just behind the left ear. I didn't want to. I really didn't want to. But I found myself kneeling beside her anyway, pushing the hair aside. And there it was. Stamped into the synthetic skin, serial number 2030102-7F. Just below it, something else. A tiny tattoo. A dragonfly. Maya had the same one. Same spot. Same shape. It was her first ink, something she got on a whim in college. I touched the side of my own neck where my matching one was. And I started crying. I gave the woman the number. There was a long pause, keys clacking softly on her end. "Ah," she said, and something shifted in her voice. "Looks like you received one of our prototype models, Noah." She said my name. I hadn't given it. "Who sent it?" I asked, barely managing to speak. "I'm not at liberty to disclose that, I'm afraid. I want to return it." Her voice became sharper. Still friendly, but with an edge now. "I would highly advise against that." And before I could ask what that meant, she ended the call. The line had gone dead, but I kept holding the phone to my ear, like if I stayed still long enough, she'd come back. She didn't. I tried to Google the number. Nothing. No business. No listings. Just a pin drop in the middle of nowhere, states away. I stood in the doorway of the living room, staring at her. The doll sat in pieces, limbs sprawled where I'd left them. A dead mimic of the person I missed most. I wanted to throw it away. Burn it. Smash it to bits and never think of it again. Instead, I carried her, piece by piece, into the spare room and shoved everything into the closet. Closed the door. Locked it. But I couldn't stop thinking about the weight of her waist in my hands. It felt exactly like that night. The weight of Maya's body slumped against mine. The smell of blood, the warmth fading second by second. The gun had never been found. They ruled it a suicide, then quietly retracted the conclusion when the evidence didn't add up. But no answers ever came. Only silence. Days passed. I didn't sleep. And then, one night, I gave in. I opened the closet. I don't remember why. I don't even remember the steps between standing and kneeling. All I know is that I found myself putting her together. Slowly. Gently. Like dressing a wound. I clothed her in one of Maya's old pajama sets. The faded navy ones with stars across the legs. The ones she wore when she was sick. And then I lay beside her. Just lay there. Holding her. Not for lust. Not for fantasy. Just for warmth. For something like memory. I slept better than I had in months. When I woke up, I kissed her cheek before I remembered she was gone. And the cheek was still warm. I tried to tell someone. Thought maybe if I said it out loud, it would sound ridiculous and I'd finally let go. I started with my mother. I left out most of the details, the ones that would make her stop calling me entirely, but even the gentlest version of the truth made her go quiet on the line. She asked me if I was sleeping. Eating. If I'd maybe ordered something and forgotten. I wanted to scream. I told Maya's brother next. Eli. That one hurt more. He stared at the doll like it was a dead animal I'd dragged in from the woods. Then he looked at me like I was the one rotting. After that, he stopped returning my texts. The more I tried to explain, the more I realized, no one was ever going to believe me. And I didn't blame them. I probably wouldn't believe me either. But I couldn't bring myself to get rid of her. Because the longer I kept her, the more things changed. I started noticing little things. The angle of her limbs in the morning, not quite how I'd left them. The way her hair seemed less tangled some days, as if brushed by invisible hands. And the smell. Not perfume. Not anything artificial. The beginning of decay. I told myself it was the mind playing tricks. I washed her skin with warm water and soap, but the scent came back the next night. It was faint, but unmistakable. The smell of death. The kind that stays on your clothes. The kind that never really leaves. And then, this morning, I got the email. From the funeral home. They need me to come in. Something happened to Maya's body. They won't say what, only that it's urgent. I haven't responded yet. I'm afraid of what they'll tell me. But more than that, I'm afraid of what they won't. I told myself I was going to leave the house today. Head straight to the funeral home. Get answers. Be brave. Instead, I'm writing this. Because I think I already know. Last night, I couldn't sleep again. I lay there beside her, beside it, watching the ceiling while the fan spun in slow, lazy circles. I didn't touch her. I didn't even turn toward her. But I could feel her presence like static, just inches from my back. I started thinking about the warmth. The details. The way her lashes would twitch ever so slightly, like she was dreaming, even though she couldn't be. Couldn't be. And then I heard it. A sound I hadn't heard in months. Not since the hospital. Breathing. Not mine. Shallow. Steady. Not mechanical, not artificial. Real. Lungs rising and falling. Right behind me. I didn't move. Couldn't. I just listened. Eyes wide open. Muscles locked. The worst part. It wasn't comforting. It wasn't Maya. It was close, but it wasn't hers. It was something else using her shape. Something that had learned how to mimic life, but didn't understand what it meant. Something trying to come back through her. And I let it in. I don't know what's waiting for me at the funeral home. But I think the person they buried isn't there anymore. Because I think, God help me, I'm sleeping next to her now. And she's still getting warmer. The funeral home was quiet in the way hospitals are quiet, too much tile, too much fluorescent light, and too many people pretending they aren't watching you. A woman with a clipboard met me in the hallway. She didn't offer condolences. Just asked for my name, asked me to follow. The walk down the corridor was longer than I remembered. I noticed the lights flickering behind us after every third step. I'm going to be very honest, she said, unlocking a steel door. We don't know what we're dealing with. The room was cold. Colder than it should have been. No table, no sterile equipment. Just a drawer, halfway open. We didn't call you because of decomposition, she said, almost apologetically. That's not what this is. She pulled the drawer open the rest of the way. And there she was. Or what should have been her. But it wasn't. I'd prepared myself for rot. For grief. For finality. But what I saw was something unfinished. The body looked like Maya. Sort of. The hair was right. The bone structure was close. The tattoo behind her ear was perfect. But the skin, it had the texture of wax. Her fingertips were missing the tiny folds, like whoever made her forgot fingerprints were a thing. Her teeth were too uniform. And her eyes, though closed, weren't sealed shut like they should have been. They were barely ajar. A sliver of the cornea visible. And they weren't brown. They were glassy. Reflective. Like the surface of still water. I took a step back. My stomach turned. We've seen body degradation, of course, the woman said quietly. But not like this. We tried to perform a routine check before cremation, and she hesitated. Then slid a photograph across the table. It showed the inside of Maya's torso, opened up. There were no organs. None. Just a hollow cavity. Smooth on the inside. Lined with something dark and fibrous that looked more like tree bark than anything human. We didn't do this, she added quickly. We didn't take anything. She arrived like this. I couldn't speak. Couldn't even blink. They asked if I wanted to see more. I said no. I stumbled out into the parking lot and vomited behind a parked van. The wind had picked up, but the air didn't feel natural. It felt charged. Like before a lightning strike. And when I got back in the car, there was a voicemail waiting on my phone. No number. Just static for the first few seconds. Then a woman's voice. You've seen it now. Do you understand? Click. Nothing else. I looked up. In the rearview mirror, for just a second, I could have sworn I saw Maya. Sitting in the back seat. But when I turned around, the space was empty. And yet, the indentation on the seat was still warm.